Hey, Coach, welcome to another episode of Build with the CEO. I am your resident CEO, Trevor, and I'm excited to be with you here on Tuesday at noon. And we are officially in week 4 of what we're calling Slump Survival Month. Now, many of you, hopefully, you started a program this month, right? And you had new people in that program. And so Slump Survival was all about helping you as a coach learn when clients would potentially, would potentially drop off, and then give you some strategies to be able to prevent that from happening, or at least reduce it from happening, because there are clear patterns here. And this doesn't just apply to programs that are happening in January. It applies to any program that you run. If you have a signature program that's evergreen, that's always running, this still works. So today I'm going to spend some time reviewing what we covered in weeks 1 through 3. And then towards the end, I'm going to reveal something new inside of Coach Catalyst that may or may not have some AI involved with it. It may or may not be super cool and awesome. And it is really just the beginning of what we are doing with AI inside of Coach Catalyst. So let's do a little review, a little recap of what we talked about this month. Just in case you missed anything, it's worth going back and looking at those episodes. I also have a ton of resources that I'll bring up here to make sure that you have access to them as well. So week 1, when we launched Slump Survival, we talked about before I even start a program. This is what we call ghost number 1. Okay, a client that doesn't even get to the starting line. And this is extremely common in repeat dieters. People that have done it all. They've done the keto thing. They've done the cabbage diet, cabbage soup diet. They've done low carb. They've done high carb. They've done low fat, high fat. They've done all of the things over and over and over again, and they haven't really been successful long term with any of them. And so in these people's brains, they see starting your program as a time of restriction. Okay, and we call this anticipatory restriction. Their brain is wired to think that this program is only going to allow me to do certain things. So I need to do all those things, those fun things, those things that I really enjoy, all of them in the 3 days leading up to that program. And they end up starting even further behind than if they would have just kept going with what they were doing. And they ultimately wear up a lot of that dopamine and arrive at day 1 dopamine depleted. So they don't really have a lot of energy or motivation to get started. And then there's all of this shame and resentment from not even starting the program well. And a lot of our language as a coach can lead into this, but definitely check out week 1 if you've seen this happen with clients. And then we've done at Coach Catalyst is we've actually created a specific, it's not really a program, but it is 4 or 5 lessons. I don't know exactly what it is. I'll show you here in a second, that you can put into your program that the client is going to get before they actually start their program. So let me just show you exactly what that is here. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll switch some views here for us. Okay, there we go. Now, inside of Coach Catalyst, you're going to come in here and you're going to go into your programs, and sometimes your programs, you're going to see we kind of change this menu to make it easier. And then you're going to go into marketplace down here at the bottom, and then you're going to look for add-on repeat dieters ramp up week. If we hit preview program over here, that will show you the 5 lessons that are in here. And so you're going to see each of these lessons was built out with this specific client in mind. And so it's going to start giving them some strategies to be able to call on when their brain short circuits and takes over because of all of this history from dieting. So if you have a program, if you deal with people that are repeat dieters, definitely grab these 5 lessons inside of Coach Catalyst, inside of the marketplace, because they're going to be really helpful in you helping those clients start off on the right foot. Okay, so that's in there. Just go into marketplace and you'll be able to grab those ones. So that was week 1. We were talking all about the client that struggles to even get to the starting line, and we call that ghost number 1. Then in week 2, we got into ghost number 2. And this is what the typical client that's starting your program and they fall off in the middle. Usually it's around week 3. They do awesome in week 1 and 2. They're engaged, they're checking in, they're maybe participating in the community. And then week 3 hits and they vanish, right? And this is actually, there's some physiology behind this, right? They start this kind of diet roller coaster on a high. Their dopamine's hitting, they're checking off the boxes, they're doing the things they need to do, they're feeling really good. And then by about week 3, things become a little bit more mundane. Things become a little bit harder. Maybe there were some obstacles or barriers that came up, and things just are more difficult. And I can't ride that dopamine motivation anymore. I really have to fall back on and principles that they really haven't developed yet. And so one of the best things that we can do here is start talking about this period before it happens. So the client can start to recognize the signs and realize that, hey, this isn't weird. This isn't different. I'm not different. This is just kind of part of the process. And if I push through this period, I'm going to come out on the other side still on track, still moving in the right direction, and I'm going to find motivation again. But motivation isn't going to be at a 10 out of 10 every single week of the program. And inside of Coach Catalyst, we've built it in a very specific way so that you can start to see signs of this fall off. And I'll share my screen again here so I can just remind you about these places inside of Coach Catalyst. So inside of Coach Catalyst here, now we are going to look at, this is an actual client, but I've changed the name on the client just to keep some of their anonymity here. But you're going to see, let's see if I can expand this out. I want to get this out of the way, but you'll see here a few things. One, we've got a time frame, right? So this particular client is on a 30-day time frame. So I can see how many actions they've completed, how many workouts they've completed, their overall compliance through here. And then I'm actually going to X this out of the way. And then these last 7 days. Okay, this is really important in seeing fall off, right? Here you see all greens. This client's killing it. They're engaging every single day. But you're going to start to see question marks and you're going to start to see X's. X's are actually a good thing because the client engaged and they mark something as not done. Question marks are the ones that you want to start to pay attention to. Because if you do see question marks in these last 7 days, right, if you do see question marks there, that's telling you that the client is not engaging. Okay, they're starting to fall off. And we have a rule whenever we run a program, we never want to see more than 3 in a row. If we see 3 in a row, we're reaching out to that client. If we don't hear from that client, we're continuing to reach out until we hear from them. We actually start this usually at the 2 question mark, but if we see 3, that is a red flag. Everyone is going to help get this client back on track. Because remember, whenever we run a program, the goal is to help the client get to the finish line. Because if they don't get to the finish line, 1, we can't help them and they can't get the result that they came to us for. And 2, we can't move them into the next phase of that program to continue helping them along their journey. Because my guess is they're not going to see the end result that they want in this kind of first phase of the program. So we need to get them to the finish line. And part of that is staying engaged with them and keeping them engaged inside of the program. So that's right in there. Just make sure we're checking that stuff because that's going to tell you when that client is starting to fall off. Right? So we have that last 7 days. The next thing I want to show you that I think is really important are the custom filters. Now, with the custom filters here, looks like I didn't share the first time. Let's try that again. There we go. So now with the custom filters, okay, they're here on the left-hand side. That allows you to really segment your client list and put them into really shortcuts. Right? So for me, this is actually a live account that I use for coaching, right? I have my programming clients, I have my 5:30 a.m. clients, my 6 a.m. clients, but this could be your challenge clients. You can even do this by things like at risk. So if I click over here on filters, you're going to see compliance. I can look at different compliance. I can save those filters down here at the bottom. We're calling them segments, but I can make as many different versions of these as I need to be able to quickly come in. Hey, I want to check this group of clients, or I want to check the people that are kicking butt. I want to check the people that are at risk, right? We can have these filters set up so it just saves you a ton of time. And then remember the bulk action box up here where I can send a bulk message to a bunch of people. So if I did want to send a message to all of the people that are killing it, I can hit send bulk message and send that same message out to all of those clients to make it really, really easy for me as a coach to recognize the people that are kicking butt and not have to go one by one by one by one and send the exact same message. I can just do it in bulk right from there. Okay. So remember, those are features in there to help you save time and show you the people that are starting to fall off, because we want to catch them. The sooner we catch them, the sooner we catch them, the easier it is to bring them back on track, right? If someone's been disengaged for a week or 2 weeks, right, the likelihood of bringing them back is probably pretty low. So give me a second here. I got to pull up this client, but I want to keep some anonymity with clients here. So give me 1 second so I can get him back up. There we go. So that when we get to the next piece, I've got that all ready to rock and roll. Okay. So that was week 2. We were talking about the client that falls off kind of in the middle of a program, and then the features inside of Coach Catalyst to make sure that you are noticing that, reaching out to them, engaging with them, and making sure that they stay on track. And the one thing I failed to mention there is the notification center. So make sure we're using the notification center effectively. That is one of the most important tools inside of Coach Catalyst. So make sure that we're using that as well. I can't show you the one that I had on the other screen just because it has all of our client accounts in it. Now, week 3, we brought on our favorite RD, Jen Brocksterman, and she laid out like a coaching masterclass. Jen is one of the best coaches that I know. She's been in the game for 15 years. She's a registered dietitian, and she is the absolute best at metaphors, at analogies, and helping clients really create visuals around what they're doing. And I want to highlight just a couple that she put out there. The first one was the toothbrush analogy. Definitely go back and listen to this one because she explains it way better than I will right here. But the essence of this is you ask the client if they brush their teeth. Most clients are going to say, yes, they do. Every day, probably twice a day. Okay. Well, like clockwork, it just happens. And then you ask them, is there ever a time when, maybe you were up late or you're just super tired, you went to bed early and you just forgot to brush your teeth? And they'll be like, yeah, happens to everybody. And they're like, what did you do the next day? Did you just say, screw it, I'm not going to brush my teeth again until Monday. I'm going to start again on Monday. And they're like, no, that's ridiculous. The next morning, I just brushed my teeth. Nutrition works the same way. If we have a bad meal, if we have a bad day, right, most people default to, oh, whatever. I'm just going to screw it. I'm just going to start again on Monday. Right? But we would never do that with the toothbrush analogy. And so Jen actually keeps the toothbrush in her little pen holder to be able to show clients. But these analogies are great. So that was one really good one that she gave. Another really good one that she gave was this idea of a tennis court. She had a nice visual in this one. And so you're on one side of the tennis court, the client's on the other side of the tennis court, and we have the net in the middle. So on a tennis court, you can only go to the net. You can't go all the way over to your opponent's side. You can only go to the net. So in any sort of coaching relationship, you can only go halfway. And then the client is going to decide how far they can go, right? And they can only go halfway to meet you in the middle. Okay? That is the perfect scenario, is both people are going halfway, but the client won't always go halfway. So this is a really good analogy that you can use with your clients, right? To just visualize this coaching relationship. The coach can't want it more than you. They can't do it for you, right? But they can meet you halfway as long as you're willing to do the work on your end. So I thought that was a really good analogy that she had. And one thing that she did talk about is this idea of expectations. So if you've been following us at Coach Catalyst, we believe wholeheartedly in onboarding processes and really onboarding programs, having some sort of program that you onboard people into your program with, right? This reduces anxiety about the program. I don't need to start right now. I have a few days to just get used to things. It allows you to set expectations as a coach so the client knows what to expect from you as a coach. right? And they're not just bringing all of their outside experiences to this coaching relationship. You need to kind of lay out the rules of engagement, lay out the expectations from the beginning. So what the client should expect from you as a coach and what you expect from that client. These are all incredible things to add during an onboarding type program. And so she had some great stuff that she talked about there. And then finally, we talked a little bit about this thing called canned responses. So inside of Coach Catalyst, we have this really cool feature called canned responses. Now, canned responses or canned replies take place inside of the, hold on, let me change my layout here, inside of the message. So if I came into my messages here, in the bottom left, you can see it here. It's grayed out because I got this open, but you see this little message bubble? That's going to pop open my saved messages, my canned replies. So I have all of my saved messages in here. So if there is something that you send over and over to a client, we can just build that out, create that message, and then we have it built and we can select it, right? And then that's going to send it off to that client. So it's a really easy way to have messages with your team, if you do have more than one person on your team, where you have your canned replies and then send it off. If there's things you send over and over again, this is a great way to be able to kind of systemize that process, right? So know that that one's there as well inside of the inbox. Click messages, you're on your inbox. Down on the bottom, you're going to see a little message icon. That is the saved messages, the canned replies. Okay. So Jen is a great coach. If you're interested in becoming a better coach, definitely learn from Jen. Go watch episode 3. And all of these episodes are on YouTube. Once we kind of put them through our filter to clean them up a little bit, we put them onto YouTube. So if you just go to Coach Catalyst HQ on YouTube, you'll see everything there. These also stream into our Facebook group. So if you scroll through the group, you'll find them, but sometimes it's harder in the group because there is a lot of things going on and things can get pushed to the bottom. So now the moment everyone has been waiting for, the thing we wanted to see, and some coaches already have this in their account. So I want to give you first, I need to set some expectations, right, on what we're about to look at. So what we're about to look at is still in what we call beta, meaning we're learning how coaches are using it. We're improving how it functions, so it isn't going to function perfectly right now. And this is the reason it is not in every single coach's account, because we need to improve on it, make it a little bit better before we can roll something like this out to all of the coaches inside of the platform. But there are a handful of coaches that are playing with it on live on their accounts with production data. And that's what I'm going to show you today is actually a live account. And this is one of my coaching accounts. I changed the name on it just to protect the client's anonymity, but it is a client that's been working with me a couple of years now. And we're going to show you how we can pull up this data. So many of you know the first version of AI that we implemented inside of Coach Catalyst was essentially ChatGPT inside of the platform. So this is version 2, and I'm excited to share it with you. This is something we've been working on for a long time, and really this is just the beginning of some really, really cool things to come. So let me get some things switched around, change some views, okay, get some things out of the way, okay, and let's take a look. So in the bottom left corner, you're going to see Smart Coach AI. So if you're on the Pro plan of Coach Catalyst, you'll have Smart Coach AI here. But it won't have this piece. This is something that is only live for a few people. Inside of Smart Coach AI, you'll have the choice between GPT-5 and Smart Coach AI. We'll talk about ChatGPT here in a second, but let's start with this Smart Coach AI. So it looks like it flipped me out of that client. So give me a second here. I'm going to need to move this to a different screen. Then I'll bring it back so that I can pull this client up without having to show you every client in my system. So give me 1 second here. All right, we're back. So we'll bring it back into screen. Okay, there we go. All right, so you see right in here, I hit create progress report. And now I picked my client, and let's do a bigger date range. Let's go 30 days with this client. And in this report, I want to include messages, workout compliance, action compliance, check-in forms, and metrics. And actually, let's go even a little bit bigger. Let's do a custom date range of, let's do this. Let's do the last 3 months. Okay. So I'm going to hit create report, and this is going to take a little bit. So this will spin, probably take 30 seconds or so, and I'll talk you through what it's doing right now. So essentially what I asked Smart Coach AI to do is to look at my client ND, and I want you to go through its last 3 months of data. Okay, all its data. And remember, we checked those boxes: workouts, metrics, messages, all of that. I wanted to go through that data, and I wanted to give me a report of those 3 months. But then I also wanted to compare that report to the 3 months previous. Okay, so we get a comparison a while. So I'm really kind of looking at 6 months worth of data. So let's open this up and let's see what it came up with. So here's your progress report for ND, covering period from October 29th, 2025 to January 27th, 2026. And then it's going to compare it to the previous period there. Okay, makes sense? Okay. So here's the period October 29th to January 27th. So engagement. Okay. Workouts completed, 31 out of 35 workouts completed, 49 messages were sent, and it tells me the last message when that was sent, which is actually really important. So that's very recent. Program actions completed, 3 out of 3. Overall engagement level has significantly improved across metrics, particularly in workout completion and message activity. Cool. Gives me some stuff there. Now here's some observable changes. So the weight decreased from 196, or let's call it 197 to 196.4, about a half pound decrease. Body fat percentage down a half, fat mass down 1.2, lean body mass remained about the same, muscle mass increased a little bit, about a pound there. Okay. It also brings in this client is tracking steps, so it brings in some of that stuff. So here it looks like increase from 6,000 steps to an average of 10,000 steps over the period. Hours of sleep, we don't have enough data there to really give us anything. Okay. So then it gives me some items for my coach review. Significant improvement in engagement metrics, verify sustainability, body metrics fluctuation to ensure weight decrease aligns with client goals, communication increase, high message volume indicates engagement levels, consider discussing topics frequently mentioned. Okay. So then it gives you some quick stats here as well. So I can see workout completion, last 3 months versus the 3 months before that. We can see that up 14%. Message count, right, almost doubled in that time frame. Program actions, and then we see some weight stuff here as well. So that gives me some quick insight into what's going on with that client. And then I have the option as a coach to be a coach. I can take this information, I can deliver some of it to the client. If I wanted to just copy and paste this into a message, I could create a Loom video for that client that kind of walks through some of this stuff. I can just use it to start conversations with that client and go a little bit deeper if I need to. So this is just the beginning of Smart Coach AI. This is just one of the prompts that we're developing at this point. And there's going to be a lot more that are coming down the pipe to just give you better information. At the end of the day, AI isn't going to do the coaching for you, and we're not developing anything at Coach Catalyst for it to coach your clients. Our goal is to utilize AI to look through all of this data, massive amounts of data, and then give you insights into that data, which is why we have integrations with things like Aura, Garmin, Fitbit, Apple Health, right? It can bring in nutritional data from Macros First, Chronometer, MyFitnessPal, things like that. And it can give you insights that it would take you 15, 20 minutes as the coach clicking around to try and find all that stuff. We're bringing it into a single view for you to give you really good information to coach. And then let's say you wanted to brainstorm with AI a little bit to give you some information here. Okay. So I'm going to then switch over to AI here, ChatGPT, and I could put in some information here. Hey, I have a client that's dealing with this. What are your thoughts on X, Y, and Z? And it can give me some insight, and we can brainstorm back and forth to figure out the best plan for that client. So you have these tools right within the platform for you to be able to coach your clients at the absolute highest level because you have the best information. And this is what we're building at Coach Catalyst. This is going to be embedded into every part of the platform so that you can get the result, or you can get the information you need as a coach extremely quickly so that you can coach your clients more effectively, more efficiently, and ultimately at a deeper level, because it will give you insights that you may not be able to glean as a coach because there's just too much data to go through. So we are super excited. I'm going to stop my sharing here. We are super excited for this to come live to everyone. Right now, there's just a select number of coaches that have it. If it is something that, hey, I want to test this on my account, understanding that it is testing and there are going to be lots of errors and bugs and things like that we're working through, just let us know. Shoot us a message. Write us a message into support@coachcatalyst.com, and then we can turn it on inside of your account. But again, we have to set expectations right from the beginning. This is just the beginning of this. There's a lot of things that we're working through, but this is going to lay the foundation to some incredible insights that you're going to get as a coach inside of the platform, and it's only going to keep getting better from here. So hopefully that excites you as much as it excites me. It's going to change the game on how we coach at our facilities and give us insight to be able to coach our clients at a deeper level. And the more data we can feed into AI, the better information it's going to give back to us. And then we're going to help you just create these incredible prompts that gets you awesome information to ultimately look like a rock star in front of your clients and help them get results faster. So if you have any questions, definitely tag me in the comments. I'm sorry, I haven't been looking at any comments while this was going on, so I'll get back to that after this episode. And if you missed anything from this month, Slump Survival, go back and check it out on our YouTube channel. Next month, we're going into kind of a business side of things next month, and we're going to be talking about conversion. So how do you take clients that are part of some sort of short-term program or trial and move them into actual full-blown paying coaching clients? And we're going to spend a month helping you develop some strategies there. So my name is Trevor. I'm the CEO of Coach Catalyst. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and we'll see you again here next Tuesday. Later.